Let me give you two reasons that we vision to be gospel-centered. Just two simple reasons. There are so many, but here's two. Number one, it's a bottom line reason. We vision it because the gospel changes people's lives in such incredible ways. And we've experienced it over and over, and it stirs us, and it just makes us want to be even more gospel-centered. We have constantly seen marriages healed by the power of the gospel. Brand new people coming into this fellowship, and their families are fragmented and coming apart, and just sitting under the gospel and learning and absorbing the power of Christ's life in them. Their marriages, their families begin to heal. We've seen drug addictions and alcohol addictions evaporated by the power of the gospel, just coming and sitting under the influence of the gospel and turning one's life over to Him, and desires begin to change and power begins to rise up in people's lives. We've seen that over and over and over. We constantly see people who've struggled inside their lives, coming out of a terrible childhood or an abusive relationship or just, years of really bad choices. And they come and sit under the gospel and they allow it to affect their lives. And we watch their inner lives healed by embracing the gospel. We see it over and over and over. I've watched so many times individual followers of Jesus in our fellowship go through a significant loss. Maybe it's a huge economic loss. They lose their business, or they lose their job, or they lose their house, or maybe it's a relational loss. They lose their spouse to death, or even a child. And I have watched so many times strength and grace just poured into their lives in that moment. And they're not destroyed by the circumstance. In fact, they visibly grow stronger. That's a reason that we vision to be gospel-centered. Here's the second reason that we vision to be gospel-centered, and that is we're called to bring the gospel. As a community, we are called to bring the gospel to our community, to our city, and across the world. Mark 16:15, Jesus says Himself, "Go into all the world and preach the gospel to all creation." 1 Peter 2:9 says about us, we're set apart, we're a chosen race, we're a royal priesthood, we're a holy nation, we're a people for His own possession. It says, so that, why? So that we might proclaim the excellencies of Him who called you out of darkness and into His marvelous light. Look at the purpose of your life. It is to reflect and to communicate the life change that the gospel can make in your life into others' lives, and to bring His marvelous light into their lives. 1 Corinthians 3:9, I struggle every time I read this verse. How can this be true? 1 Corinthians 3:9 says that we are God's fellow workers. By embracing Christ and becoming Christ-centered or a gospel-centered life, you become a fellow worker of God. And so as a follower of Christ, He's chosen you to be a co-laborer with Him in bringing the gospel to your world. Do you know what? This is one thing, that one aspect, that is one thing that makes me so passionate about faith in Christ after 40 years of following Him. The gospel continues to grow deeper into my heart and to change me even after 4 decades. And look, here's just the absolute joy of it. I get to be a part of bringing this gospel into people's lives all around me. And I get to see the gospel of Christ literally change their lives. And it's why our church is so passionate about the gospel too. That's why we vision it.